Okay, so this is a tutorial on drawing in Illustrator. I'm going to use this image that I had in class yesterday, for those who were there. And I'm just going to draw this basically using the pen tool and a couple of ellipses or ovals for the earpiece here. And one of the things to remember about this is that this is it's supposed to be a very clean shape. It's a machine-made suit of armor, so it's going to be clean lines. They're all curves, pretty much. I think there's a single straight line in it, apart from maybe bits here and here. But for the most part, curves. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw all of this, and we're going to join up everything with lines, but we're going to make sure that every shape that we need to be enclosed is enclosed. So, this section here, for instance, I want there to be no gaps in any of these lines. So when I fill them in with color, that the color can't escape into the next section. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do this earpiece here because it's made of ovals or ellipses. So just to make sure where we are, I go to my layers. I'm on my layers palette here. I've got the original image at the bottom here. I've just locked it in place, and then I'm drawing on the layer above. So let's go to our ellipse tool, which is here. Now I'm going to move my cursor to line up with the top and the side. So about there should be right. Now the thing to remember, this ellipse on the actual image was hand drawn, so it's not going to be perfect. I might just, so just those things aren't, actually, I'll do that second one. I've got the other one in, so I'm going to undo that. And this other ellipse down here, I'm going to start here for that one. And I'll do this bit here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a rectangle right there. I'm going to make a circle, the same size, same height, should I say. And like the way we did the love heart one in, I'm just going to have those two intersect. And then I'm going to go to properties, and I can use the pathfinder to combine them. Undo that. Or I can go to the shape builder and just drag a line through them, So I'm going to take that. I'm going to drag that. Let's try and line it up. That looks right to me. I'm going to take the three of those, and with the shape builder this time, I'm going to connect that one to that one. Sorry, undo that. I'm going to drag that one to that one. And I hold the Alt key down, and see it goes from plus to minus, and I just get rid of the bit I don't want. And then I've got my three shapes together. I'm just going to rotate them, just to give them a bit of movement in a way, so they're not perfectly straight, because there's probably only one very precise angle that this figure could be positioned where they would be a perfectly vertical ellipse. Okay, so this is going to be useful as a starting point for me, because if I start a line drawing all the way around the edge of the head, if I started on this outer oval, go all the way around and hit the outer oval on this side and connect them, then that shape will be sealed because it's connected at both ends to this oval. So let's do that. So pen tool. And when I move my cursor onto the ellipse, you can see that a red line kind of appears around it, but you can also see intersect or pass sometimes, So it just tells you you're on the line. So I'm going to click once and let go. I'm going to go to the top, click and drag. And again, your sketch is a guide, and then I'm going to bring it down because it wants to keep going on. And if I use the curve that's already connected, then it'll be a very gradual connection. So I'm going to go to about here, stretch it a bit more. Then I'm going to go to about here. So I want to get around this shape in as few clicks as possible. Now you can see that here it's too much of a, it can't really curve back. So I go to where it says anchor, I click, and it breaks off that handle. I'm just using the scroll wheel on my mouse to move up a bit. I'm going to go to this, a very definite point here, but I want it to be a curve between that and the last point. So I'll go there. And then I want to go across here, but the curve is in the way. Anchor to break off the handle. I'm going to go here. I'll give it a slight curve because I don't want it to be a perfectly straight line. It might look out of place there. Again, I'm just following these around. Go to here. here. Back to where I started. You see where it says path there? Then I know I'm on the line. And then I've connected them again. So it still wants to draw the next thing, so I just hit escape on my keyboard. That line is done. And what I tend to do here is to avoid any confusion with the next line I draw, I just select that line, I click to deselect it, and then I go back to my pen. And that just kind of confirms the line, and it stops Illustrator trying to do any connections with it, you know. So if ever you get it to a point where you can't connect the line or it's acting funny, just select it. So you'll see it like that. Then click off the deselected, pen tool again. So I'm going to do, what's the next shape I'll do? I will do, let me see, I'll do this line here all the way down. So I'll start here, see where it says path, then I know I'm on the line. Click and drag. Let's go to here, click and drag. We'll break off that because there's a bit of a straight line here. Do a slight curve back into that. And you see it curves and then curves away. So go to the end of the first curve, if you like. Do a curve there. And then back down, see where it says path? If I click there, it'll just finish that line. So now I have to hit escape. I'm going to hit select, deselect, pen again. So this time I am going to draw the line at the back of his neck. So I'm going to start on that oval. So you see it says intersect or path, either one is fine. Click once, I'm going to go to about there, get that curve, down to about there. I want to go back to here, so it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to go to there and stretch, just get a nice curve there for that. I can't get that, so I need to go to the anchor, click there. I go back up here, and you see where it says intersect or path, or whatever it might be. That tells me I'm on the line. I don't know if you can see it, but the outer line of his head is highlighted in a kind of pinkish red. I'll just click and drag and get a curve there. I don't need any more on that line, so I hit escape. I go to select, click, back to the pen. And now I'm going to draw up here. So let's draw this shape that goes around the top of his head and back to here. So I'm going to start on the outside of his head. So see where it says path or intersect, whatever one. Click there. I'm going to go to there. I'm going to break off that handle. I'm going to go to about here. I want it to kind of curve out, so the handle needs to be broken off. I go to there, get that curve. I want to go back this way, but the handle is too long, so I just need to break off at the anchor. I go to here, get that curve. Yeah, I think that's okay. See the way it curves back in? The handle is kind of in the direction I want to go, and it's quite a long distance, so it will be a natural curve. The fewer times I have to break off the anchor point, the better, you know? So in this case, I think it works well. So I'm going to click once there just to get that curve, and then it's a straight line back to here. And see where it says anchor? It tells me I'm back on that line. Escape, select, deselect, pen. And I'm really doing that. I probably don't have to do that every time, but it's a good habit to get into. Now I'm going to draw this line here and across the forehead kind of thing. So I'm going to start on the path. We go to there, click and stretch and drag. I want to go back this way, but it won't quite let me. So anchor, break that off, go to the end point on the path. So I'm connecting one line to another. So it means I'm sealing off those shapes, you know. I don't want to draw anymore. Escape, select, off, pen. Now I'm going to do this line here. So I'm going to pen there. I'm going to go to here and intersect it. Escape, select, deselect, pen. Now I'm going to zoom in a bit for this next bit. So Control plus on your keyboard will zoom in for you. If you hold space bar down, you have to hold it down. You get that hand, you can click and drag, and then when you let go, it goes back to whatever tool you were using. So I'm going to start here on the edge, click once, I go to here, that's one continuous line. Now when you're zoomed in, just drag your lines carefully because you can end up shooting off the page. So I'm going to break off the anchor, I'm going to go to here, see a slight curve on it, there, and I'm going to go back to my line here. now I'm going to escape. So do that. Escape. Select, deselect. Pen. Let's start here. I'm going to go to here, to here, to here. Escape. Select, deselect. Pen. Escape. Select, deselect. Pen. Now I'm going to go back and select that line actually, because I want to put in the curve that I didn't put in already. So I'm going to click off. I'm going to click that point there. I'm just going to roll that a bit and just put in a little curve there and maybe one there too. Just to take that edge out of it, because I've got a bit of a curve there and I want it to be there too. So back to my pen tool. Click. So these are small details, so I'm not going to labor those too much. Escape. And click. Right. Click. Click. And they're joined. Okay. Now I'm going to click that one in the corner with my direct selection tool. You see it's got a sharp edge to it, so I'm going to roll that edge back so you know that's too much. A bit at a time. It just connects with that edge a bit better. There's a little point sticking over the edge, but it's not a huge deal. So Control minus if you're on a PC, Command minus if you're on a Mac. So it's starting to come together. But the key point about this is that I joined every line. I started it on a line and I ended it on a line. So I'm not leaving any gaps, you know. So let's just do a few more details. Starting on the line, ending on the line. Escape, select, off, pen. You know, so just bit by bit I'm building that up. So that's drawing with curves, and that's kind of the level I'm kind of expecting. One other thing I'm going to suggest is the brush tool. The brush tool is here. If I draw a line with the brush tool, you see it smooths out, but if it doesn't do that for you, you just double click the paintbrush tool and it brings up this option here called fidelity. All the way to the bottom. Let's try it now. If I draw my line, tidies it up a tiny bit, broadly speaking leaves it as it is. Double click. I'm going to bring fidelity all the way up to smooth and okay that. And I'm going to draw. You see the way it really selects or smooths out those lines for me. So the reason why you might want that is because drawing with a mouse is a very inaccurate way of doing anything. So I'm going to go get my brush and I'm going to change the line, because whenever you have whatever tool you have selected, in properties you have the properties of it that you can change. I'm going to change it to like a half a point. So the test line is still a bit big, so I'm going to do it at 0.25 of a point. And you can see that's the same as the lines on the screen. So let's do that. So one of the things I'm going to look at is I'm going to draw a line from here. I'm going to start on the edge of the thing and I'm going to draw to there. You can see how it smooths that out. There. 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 And you can see that that's drawing those very smooth. But in a way, you know, if I'm going to just try this one, it won't probably look okay. You see, that does that as a very, and that's okay if unless you want to really recreate. If you really want that kind of, there's a subtle kind of direction change here. So I would do that with the pen tool. But for lines where you're just kind of, let's go. These accent lines here, they're really just kind of detail more than anything else. That smooths them out for you. So, you know, you can use that. But I would say for the most part, you're probably not going to use that. Yeah, so that's it really. And then after that, we'll go on and talk about how you would color that in. See if that does anything. That's not too bad, but it's a bit rubbish. So Control Z or Command Z, depending on what you're working on. That looks a bit better, you know. But that said, if I go back to my pen tool and go from there to there, it'll be perfect. So I'm going to escape that, select it, and it's probably a bit too thin, so I'm going to bring it up a bit there. Too much, back one, and there you go. And also, at the end of it, you might go in and kind of make a few lines thicker than others. So maybe if we took this line here and made that two, and maybe this one here we made a bit lighter. So if you vary the line weight, you can get different results. So the outer line, you might go a bit bigger with that. And the inner lines, you could go, like these fine lines here at the top, I'm going to hold the Shift key down and select them. They might be, they might be finer. That one too. So see these ones here, if I, that's odd that that's doing that. Anyway, these ones here could be thicker than those ones, just to give a bit of the perception of depth a little bit. Like this one could be, there's not enough gradation between those lines to kind of do that. But also, finally, just as a small little piece here, you could just draw an ellipse for that. Rotate it a tiny bit just to give it a bit of life to it. Over here, just kind of eyeballing these to kind of get a sense of what's right. Maybe scale it down through the middle. And just build them up that way. Okay, that's it.